Hello, guys. I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys. The message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi. I don't know if you still remember me, but a long time ago, I came to you and I sent you a message. I was looking for a job at that time. Then you posted my story, but I couldn't find the job that I was looking for. Then the man that I was living with at that time found out that I had been looking for help on Facebook. Then he took my phone away from me. However, I was tortured, Brother Nashi. I was constantly being beaten up by my ex-husband, and he stopped buying food in the house. So what I used to do was that whenever I was hungry, I would boil bananas, because in the place that we were staying, there was a banana tree in that yard. So I would go to that banana plant, then I would grab a few bananas. Most of them, they were not yet ripe at that time, the green bananas. So I used to boil those bananas until they are good enough for me to eat. That is what I used to feed myself, because my ex-husband had told me that I am not going to buy any food because you have gone on Facebook to look for help. So those people on Facebook, they should buy you the food so that you can eat. That guy, what he then started to do is that he used to sell my clothes so that he can buy marijuana. He used to smoke weed a lot. So he would go into the house, take my clothes, then he will go into the location, then he will start to sell my clothes so that he can buy drugs for himself. When I saw that the situation was so bad for me, I could not take it anymore. I was hungry all the time, and this guy, he was now selling all of my clothes. Then I sat down with him. When I sat down with him, I wanted to tell him that I no longer wanted to be in this relationship with him. I wanted to divorce him. So when I told him that I no longer loved him, he started beating me up. He said, "How dare you say that you don't love me anymore? It is me who has the right to tell you that I don't love you anymore." So the way that he was beating me, I saw that he can end up killing me. So I said to him, "My husband, I am sorry. I was just joking with you. I love you so much, my husband." So when I pretended to my husband that I was still in love with him, he stopped beating me, but he gave me a warning. He said to me, "If you tell me again that you don't love me anymore, I am going to kill you. In fact, what is going to happen here is that if you tell me that you don't love me, you want a divorce, you are going to leave this house. But you are going to leave this house under one condition. You will leave this house when you are inside a coffin." So I kept on pretending to my husband that I was still in love with him, because I was afraid that he was going to kill me. Because most of the times when he will be high on his drugs, he will grab a knife and he will pretend as if he wanted to stab me. Actually, one day he tried to stab me. Then one day when he was fighting with me, I got lucky and I ran away from him. But when I ran away from my husband, I had no idea where I was going to sleep, what I was going to eat. So I was just walking in town and I was crying. As I was walking in town, confused and crying, I met a man who spoke with me. He asked me where I was going and I could not answer him. Then he said to me, "If you come with me to my place, there is someone who is looking for a maid. You can get a job." When that man told me that at this place there was someone who was looking for a maid, I was so happy. In my heart, I praised God and I said that, "God, you are so faithful." Here I was, just walking aimlessly. I didn't know where I was going to sleep, what I was going to do. But you have sent this stranger, and this stranger is now saying to me that he can offer me a place to sleep. Then tomorrow he is going to take me to that house where he heard that they are looking for a maid. As we were walking to that man's house, I was so happy, and in my heart I was praising God. So the place that man was staying was very far from the place where I had met him. So we had to travel almost all day until it was night time. That is when we arrived at his place. But the moment that we arrived at his place, I knew that it was Satan who had pretended as if he wanted to help me. Satan was against me. This was not a blessing, this was a curse. Because when we got inside that man's house, there was no work. That guy was just staying alone. He was using a one back room. When I got inside that one room that man was using, that man forced me to become his wife, and I had no choice. I was afraid of this guy. So me and this guy, we started staying together as husband and wife, but he had forced me to become his wife. I lacked nothing, but the guy was a thief. Yes, this guy, I think he was a thief and a murderer. But around the location, he was just lying to people that he was a contractor, he was a builder. But the moment that I started staying with this guy, I immediately realized that this guy, he was just a thief, maybe an armed robber, because each and every night, whenever he would go to sleep, underneath his pillow, there was always a knife. That guy, he was always suspicious of everyone. So what he will do is that he used to come back home each and every morning, early in the morning. He will be having 5 or 6 smartphones. He would always have a knife in his pocket whenever he would go even to the toilet. On his side, he will be having a pocket knife. He would take a knife with him everywhere he would go. His money was always in his bank card. That guy never had cash on him. He always kept his money in his bank. So when I started staying with this guy, he said to me, I don't want you to use your phone anymore. And he threw away my SIM card and he said to me, here, take this SIM card. It was his SIM card and one of his phones. And he said, I don't want you to speak with any of your relatives anymore. I don't want you to speak with any of our neighbors. You have to speak with me and me only. So one day he bought me a new SIM card and he said to me, you can contact some of your relatives, but not all of your relatives. But even though this guy, he seemed like he was an armed robber or something, but he was a loving guy. We lived in peace with this guy, but I was so afraid of him because he had a huge body. But everything that I needed, he gave me. But I was never allowed to get outside of the house. The only time that I'll get out of the house, it was when I wanted to go to the toilet, and when I wanted to go to the spaza shop, I was not allowed even to get outside of the yard where he was staying. If I wanted to go to the spaza, he would ask me, what do you want at the spaza? Then I would tell him. Then he will go and buy whatever I wanted at the spaza shop and he will give me. The only time that I was allowed to get out of the house if I wanted to be in the sun. Being with that guy, I was more like a prisoner because I had to be indoors 24/7. There came a time when I was missing my parents so much. That is when he gave me a SIM card. And whenever I'll speak with my parents, he will be by my side so that he can hear everything that I'll be speaking with my parents. Yes, it was a cruel lifestyle, but that guy, whatever I wanted, he made sure that he would go to town and he would buy me whatever I would want. Time came when he was no longer sleeping at home. Sometimes he would come back home at 3 a.m. in the morning. I was so afraid of this guy because this guy is so scary. I was scared of asking his whereabouts. So what I noticed is that whenever this guy would come back home, when he would knock on the door, when I would open for him, he would say, give me milk and eggs, fresh milk. So when I would have given him the fresh milk and the eggs, he would wash his hands. And I noticed that his hands and his clothes would be full of blood. That is why I was so scared of this guy. I was afraid that if I tell him that I don't love him anymore, he was going to murder me, because where was he getting all of this blood? Because each and every night when he would come back home, his hands would be full of blood. Then, as we were staying, I had only one choice. I pretended as if I was so much in love with this guy, like madly in love. He trusted me enough. Then he said to me, you can actually go around the location so that you can have fresh air, because he had believed that I was now totally his. So as someone who was locked in the house 24/7, some days he would say you can go around the location so that you can freshen up. One day as I was walking around, I was brave enough. I started looking for a job. Luckily enough, when I got this job, he was not there. So I spoke with my boss. I said to my boss, I can work from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Just make sure that you keep the time for me to knock off, because I knew that if I can knock off at 5 p.m., when I get back at home, that guy will not be at home, because usually he would come back at 4 a.m. in the morning, then he would leave at 5 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes he would come back at 12 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning. So that guy never found out that I had gotten a job. So most of the weekends, he wasn't coming home at all. One day, I had the nerve to ask him. I asked him, are you not afraid of the things that you are doing? I don't know what you are doing, but are you not afraid? Why is it each and every day there is blood on your hands and blood on your clothes? And he looked at me, and I was afraid when he looked at me, because I don't know why I had asked him this question. And he said to me, I am not afraid. You have to be afraid, because even today, if I meet Satan in the street, and if I speak with Satan, and if Satan says to me, I want you to sacrifice your mother today, before sunrise, I would have sacrificed my mother. When he said these words to me, I was so afraid. That is when I knew that I was staying with a murderer. After my first salary, I ran away from that guy. Then I looked for another accommodation in another location. Now, the reason why I am telling you my story, my brother, it is because I saw that you once posted a message from that guy who was confessing that he is a thief, and he was saying that he is looking for a prostitute so that they can help each other in this work that they are doing. So I said to myself as I was reading that confession, I hope that it is not Mr. Smart, because that guy that I was staying with, people used to call him Mr. Smart, because that person that I am talking about, yes, indeed, he is Mr. Smart. He wears expensive clothes. If I am talking about expensive clothes, that guy wears expensive clothes from bottom to top. He doesn't buy fake clothes. Each and every day, he wears brand new clothes. If you meet up with that guy in town, you can never suspect that he is a thief, but that guy is a thief. He has money. That guy is rich, but he is a murderer, a thief. But in the location, they think that he is just a contractor, a builder. But I know from everything that I saw in his house, that guy is an armed robber. So when I found out that this guy was an armed robber, the moment that I got my first salary and when I got new accommodation, I knew that I was not safe anymore in the province that I was staying, because I come from Limpopo. So I had to leave my province behind so that I can go into another province where I can be safe with my child. I have never returned back to Limpopo ever since I ran away from that guy. After running away from Limpopo province, now I am safe, and thanks God, I have finally found someone who loves me and my child. This guy that I am with right now, he takes care of me and of my child like my child is his own child. Lastly, I want to thank God that I never got any illnesses from this guy, because this guy was sick, but God save me from any kind of illnesses. Now I feel like I am in safe hands. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was forwarded to me on Facebook by one of my followers. Yo, such a strange story, such a strange story. But please let us talk about this issue in the comment section. I'll be back with more episode.